Noah, let's face it, if you go anywhere these days, you need a mask.
That's right, Clint. If you go to the bank or the gym or even the store, you're going to be required to wear one for the foreseeable future.
If you're going to be rocking a mask, why not do it in style while celebrating the Chiefs Super Bowl victory in the process?
Absolutely. Visit our friends at Noble Apparel to check out all their selections of masks that come in all styles, from Frozen to Spider-Man, and of course our defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs.
Noble Apparel is KC born and bred, and their merchandise is by Chiefs fans for Chiefs fans.
Visit NobleApparelKC.com or check them out on Facebook today at Noble Apparel 816.
This is your Olympic hero and former WWE champion, Kurt Angle. And I just wanted to give a shout out to my guys, Clint and Noah. When it comes to covering sports, there is no one better. And believe me, that's true. It's damn true.
Gentlemen, you are the top 1%.
The elite. Best of the best.
You are now listening to the Elite Sports Podcast, brought to you by Vermeil Wines and powered by GASN Sports, the pinnacle of hard-hitting sports talk, featuring weekly expert analysis and top-notch interviews. And now, please welcome your hosts, Noah Gronniger and Clint Switzer.
And now, prying my dear partner Noah Gronniger away from the second rerun of the vice presidential debates, this is the Elite Sports Podcast. I am Clint Switzer. Noah, takeaways. It's Mike Pence, it's Kamala Harris, who came out on top, because that's what people are tuning in to the Elite Sports Podcast to find out, is riveting stuff like this. Who you got, and by how many points?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. I feel like Kamala made some great points. She was firing back at Mike Pence. We heard Mike not answering the questions that were asked. He'd go off on a tangent on something else. And, of course, we have to talk about the fly on his head. All this and more on the Elite Sports Podcast.
Either that, or we're going to do a very extensive breakdown of things like Chiefs Raiders coming up here this weekend.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
The NFL is finding itself in a bit of a discombobulated mess following multiple COVID positive tests on the Tennessee Titans. We even have Stephon Gilmore from the New England Patriots testing positive, which has forced the moving of the Broncos and Patriots game to Monday night. The Titans, meanwhile, it's a mess, Noah. That game with the Bills coming up has been moved Tuesday, and then Chiefs-Bills moved to Sunday. What is going on in the NFL?
Oh, it is just a disaster. I mean, we had this in baseball with the Marlins, and this is kind of what the Titans are going through right now. And they just keep coming up with positive test after positive test. If there is another positive test for the Titans moving forward, then their game's going to have to be postponed to just move to somewhere else. And then the Chiefs-Bills game won't be Sunday. It'll be back to Thursday. It's all very convoluted. There's so much going on, a lot of moving parts. You mentioned Stephon Gilmore. The Chiefs-Patriots game last week was moved because Cam Newton was tested positive first. After the game, when we saw Mahomes and Stephon Gilmore embracing, Gilmore congratulating Mahomes on the game, and just Mahomes talking about how great of a player Gilmore is. Then Stephon Gilmore tests positive, and now we've got Maurice Hurst, a defensive lineman for the Raiders, a draft pick a few years ago out of Michigan, has tested positive, but no more since then from the Patriots, the Chiefs, or the Raiders. So at least those teams seem to have it under control, but the Titans are just a disaster.
Well, there's nothing that goes better with football than beer, and we're excited to have Golden Road Brewing as one of our newest sponsors for the show. Founded in 2011, Golden Road is Los Angeles' largest craft brewery with brew pub locations across California.
Golden Road is excited to celebrate the Kansas City Chiefs with its partnership beer, Kingdom Blonde Ale. Kingdom Blonde is available at local retailers and in the Chiefs Stadium during regular seasons.
Golden Road's year-round offerings include Mango Cart Wheat Ale, Wolf Pup IPA, and Fruit Cart Hard Seltzer. Golden Road brewers are constantly experimenting with the freshest ingredients to keep fans' taste buds happy with a collection of rotating seasonals, creative flavors, and classic craft brews.
Pick up a case of Golden Road beer at your local store to enjoy before the next game. Visit goldenroad.la/beerfinder to buy Golden Road beer now.
Yeah, this whole thing, when the NFL season first started, you said, man, there had been something like 100 or maybe even 200,000 consecutive negative tests. They had apparently figured it out, but you know what? The season gets started. You start slipping into old habits. Obviously, this is stuff that is taking place off the premises, away from the facilities. We know what's going on with the Titans. They were organizing kind of rogue workouts. But when you start testing positive, people like Cam Newton, I'm sorry, you've got to put that on them, on the individual a little bit, because it means they're doing things, putting themselves in peril, because at the facilities, there's cameras, there's stickers everywhere, there's mask mandates. It's not happening in these facilities. There's just no way. Am I wrong?
No, absolutely. Especially after 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, when everything's going well, there's no positives. Then you start letting your guard down, letting some protocols slip through here and there, and people get comfortable and like, hey, we got this thing figured out. It's fine. We're taking this too seriously. Maybe we don't need to wear a mask as much as they're saying. And you saw something happen with the Titans. They slipped up, and a bunch of people started testing positive with personnel and players, and now they're continuing to. You mentioned the private practice and workout that they had that they shouldn't have had, that went against the protocols that the NFL had set for them after they had their positive popping up, and now we just keep getting more and more. And if there are any more, like I said, the Chiefs and Bills will move back to Thursday night.
How crazy. I'll tell you, this whole year has been so just insane. We know that. Everything seems so discombobulated. Nothing really feels real. This college football season, which we're going to get into kind of in our final segment. But man, here we are, here in Kansas City, Missouri. We're getting ready to go down to Baton Rouge to cover Mizzou and LSU, and that game gets moved due to a hurricane. I mean, this year just cannot, like, you know me, I'm an A to B type brain. My brain knows that I go here at this time. I go to this game at this time. This game is taking place here, and that's when we go to it. And all that's out the window. Flush it down the toilet, because there are no more plans. You can't make them in 2020. And I tell you what, it's about to drive me a little bit batty. So LSU Mizzou gets moved to Columbia at 11 a.m. Our trip to Baton Rouge is off. This whole thing, this whole year, everything about it, I thought the NFL had done a tremendous job. We were moving right along. And then these positive tests start happening. College football pretty much started the season and said, hey, it's going to happen. We're going to have positive. We're going to deal with it. We have 100 people on our rosters with walk-ons and such. And they've done a good job. They've got fans in the stands and stuff like that. Man, it still does not feel right. The SEC is 2 weeks into the season now, and something just feels missing. I think the NFL has done a great job. The action on the field has been tremendous. You miss stuff with fans. That's any sport. But man, college football, even though there are fans in the stands, it does not quite seem real to me yet. And it feels like exhibition games or something. And I know that doesn't even exist at the college level. But man, talk me off a ledge here. I've got football. I should be happy. I should be smiling. And yet I still feel so confused.
Well, you couldn't be a Kansas City Chief, I'll tell you that, because Steve Spagnuolo and Eric Bieniemy came out this week talking about flexibility. You got to be flexible. There's always going to be moving parts, things changing, things that you're not used to, not accustomed to, and you just have to deal with it. They were asked about the extra day that they had with the game being moved to Monday, and Spagnuolo and Eric Bieniemy, I don't know if they got together and talked about what they were going to say, but they both said they took a little nap. They didn't work. They didn't prep for the Raiders game or the Bills game moving forward. They said they wanted to focus on the Patriots and get that game plan down and not have their mind convoluted with other game plans for moving forward with the Raiders and the Bills. They just wanted to focus on the Patriots and catch up on some sleep. These guys work hard. It's a tough job to be a head coach or any sort of assistant coach or on a coaching staff. Whether it be college or the NFL, that's a lot of hours that you're in the film room and prepping these guys and going through plays and reworking things in your roster and coming up with new game plans. So it's a hard job, and they caught up on some sleep. So I can definitely do that, but I don't think I can handle it. I don't think I can be flexible. I don't think you can either. I'd be freaking out and wondering and screaming at the heavens, why is this happening? Why can't things get back to normal? And I don't think the team would function very well under that kind of chaos with me running around screaming.
Well, we're going to see if the Chiefs offense can get itself back to normal as they host the Las Vegas Raiders at noon this Sunday at Arrowhead Stadium. We saw the Chiefs offense struggle mightily against the New England Patriots this past Monday, but they get a win 26-10. Patrick Mahomes just 236 yards, but 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He has not thrown an interception yet on the year. Neither has Derek Carr for the Las Vegas Raiders. My problem with Derek Carr has always been ball security. He's already fumbled twice this season. It should have been a third one. Last week, it appeared to be a bad call. It wasn't overturned, and the Raiders kept the ball. But this last game against the Buffalo Bills, the Raiders are starting to come back to earth. We saw Derek Carr lose a key fumble. His ball security is horrendous, one of the worst in the NFL that I've ever seen. He's lost 6 last year, and now here we are, already 2 on the season. Derek Carr does not beat the Chiefs. We know the record. Andy Reid's 10-2 against the Raiders since joining the Chiefs in 2013. Noah, dating all the way back to our time, our earliest memories of Chiefs football, 1990. The Chiefs are 44-19 against the Raiders during that time. It's astronomical. It's jaw-dropping. It's not even a rivalry. The Chiefs own this franchise, and I don't see it going any other way this Sunday. The Raiders are a decent team. They're a team on the rise. They've got young up-and-coming stars like Josh Jacobs. Maybe Henry Ruggs will play in this game. I really like Nelson Aguilar at the receiver position. And, of course, we know about Waller, the tight end. Noah, can the Raiders pose any threat here, or are they still a year away? And is this Chiefs level of dominance something that you'd even considered throughout this 30-year period? Do you stop and think about it, or do these numbers just completely baffle you?
They don't baffle me, but I didn't really stop to think about it. I wouldn't have guessed 44-19 about to be 45-19. But yeah, you mentioned some of the talent that the Raiders have, and they were close in that game with the Bills. It was 23-16. They were driving. They were about to get in the red zone, and then Darren Waller got the ball punched out by Josh Norman, who I guess is on the Bills. I didn't know that, but he was just called up and was out there for the Bills. They didn't think he'd be ready, but they had an injury in the secondary, and he popped in there. And Peanut Tillman, the former Bears cornerback, he's credited with kind of creating that ball up your fist and punch the ball out, get it hit directly on the ball and cause a fumble, and that's what Josh Norman did to Darren Waller. And then you mentioned the Derek Carr fumble and things. The wheels just came off for the Raiders, but they were right in that game. They were going to tie it. They were carving up that Bills defense until that fumble by Waller. So he's going to be a problem. Josh Jacobs is going to be a problem. Hunter Renfrow is kind of that Julian Edelman, Wes Welker type who's just always seems to get open and find the open hole in the zone and just be a smart, heady football player that can run the drag routes and get open on pick plays. And I do think Henry Ruggs is going to play in this game, so you got to be worried about him over the top. He's got that Tyreek Hill speed. He's definitely not as crafty as a receiver as him yet. Not the great route runner, the locating the ball, skying for it. It doesn't have a great vertical, but he's got that speed. So you got to be worried about him getting behind the defense. And Derek Carr has played well this year. He's been surgical. He's thrown some really nice footballs. He's been accurate. But you mentioned that the ball security, and when it comes down to crunch time, is he really going to come up with the big plays, especially in Arrowhead, which has just been a nightmare, just doomsday place for him to come to, and it's not going to be any different this Sunday. The Chiefs win.
Guys, we have so much still to come here on the Elite Sports Podcast, but we want to take this time to tell you about our new sponsor, 500 Level. 500 Level is the ultimate sports apparel and fan gear store, and they feature ultra-comfortable custom t-shirts for NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and even WWE. I just got a Macho Man Randy Savage shirt from 500 Level that has been a conversation starter everywhere I go. 500 Level was created because they decided it was time to create an apparel company that put the fans right in the mix, instead of having to outfit themselves with the same old gear from major corporations. 500level.com works with exceptionally talented artists, designers, and diehard sports fans to create unique t-shirt designs for fans to wear with pride. I mean, here in Kansas City, it's time to defend that Lombardi trophy. So stock up in 500 Level's unbelievable inventory of never-before-seen designs for players like Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, or even rookie Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You literally can't find that anywhere else. Use promo code KansasCity20 today for 20% off your order at 500level.com. That's promo code KansasCity20 for 20% off only at 500level.com. I do think so, and I think we're about to see this Chiefs offense maybe get back on track a little bit. We saw what the Patriots were able to do defensively. I don't think the Raiders, neither schematically nor personnel-wise, are going to be able to slow the Chiefs down the way Bill Belichick has done. And we've seen this in the past with the Chiefs have now met the Patriots 4 times since Patrick Mahomes has been a Kansas City Chief. And in that time, Bill Belichick's done a great job, especially in the first half against Mahomes and the Chiefs. It's just kind of a kryptonite. They figure it out. The Chiefs are the better team. They're playing against Brian Hoyer and Jarrett Stidham this past week. They get by the game, and which is a big win in the AFC. People aren't giving the Chiefs a lot of credit for that because of no Cam Newton, understandably so. But that hurdle of the Patriots was one when you looked at the schedule and you said, hey, the Chiefs are playing the Ravens on the road, and then you come back and play the Patriots. Man, they got to split those games. Well, they just won both of them. They're 4-0. 5-0 is very much realistic when you look at the Raiders coming in. Then you got to go to Buffalo. We'll see when that game is going to be taking place. Yeah. But I think the Chiefs are about to get healthy, and I think, and by healthy, I mean about to start getting this offense really going. We've seen Clyde Edwards-Helaire kind of in every other game type superstar so far. He was great against the Texans, really good against the Ravens, and kind of disappeared against the Chargers and Patriots. So I think this is a game that you're going to be able to establish him. Travis Kelce, throughout his career, has just been a Raider killer. We saw last year what they were able to do in just one quarter against the Raiders down there in Oakland in their final appearance at the Oakland Coliseum. To me, this has Chiefs, 35-21, 34-20, whatever you want to say, written all over it, a 2-touchdown type game. Now, the Raiders can stay in this game. They get a couple turnovers. This is the NFL. They can stay in it and really pose some problems. Like you said, Derek Carr is playing really good football right now, kind of underrated, really flying under the radar. When you see the quarterback play around this league, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, even Ben Roethlisberger's playing well when the Steelers are able to play football. You see it around the league. Tom Brady and the Bucs are starting to get kind of on track, but Derek Carr is not quite mentioned with those guys. Josh Allen certainly is. Why is Derek Carr? What do you think has really held him back?
Yeah, it's definitely. I think it was 2016 when he was on his MVP pace, and then he got injured, and that was a big force pushing him back. As far as he was on this pace, he had a ton of confidence. He was on a roll. He was playing great football. And then he had that injury that stopped him and the Raiders that season. And just moving forward, he's just been an inconsistent quarterback. He's turned the ball over. You mentioned the ball security problems. I think with John Gruden, he's starting to gain his footing, gain his confidence back. Will John Gruden be okay with keeping him around and not trying to go and find his own Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers type of quarterback, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson, a young, up-and-coming, budding star in this league? And will he give Derek Carr more time in this offense and be able to gain his footing and become familiar with these weapons in Henry Ruggs that they just got? And they just went out and got Nelson Aguilar in free agency, and he's growing with Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller. Will he give him the time, or will he be looking for that next big thing? That's kind of the question that lays out there for the Raiders.
Now you got 2 losses, and Noah, I hate to say it, I think they're staring, really down the barrel of a 2-4 start here, and that would really derail them, perhaps even from trying to vie for a wild card spot later in the year.
Yeah, it really will. I mean, it's going to be tough. We've actually got the Steelers out there playing some good football. The Colts are playing well. We're not sure if the Titans are going to have enough games played to be qualified to make the playoffs, so that's going to be something to watch. If they do, then they'll be right in there as well. Obviously, you have the Ravens. The Patriots should be in there once they get Cam Newton back. Obviously, the Buffalo Bills are playing great football, so I think the Raiders are going to just have a really hard time, even though there are now 7 teams that are going to come out of the AFC to find one of those 7 spots.
Well, switching gears kind of in our final segment here as we talk a little college football. Like I said in the opening, the SEC, this is now the 3rd week. We've seen Missouri start 0-2. We saw Arkansas get its first win in 21 SEC games this last week as they upset Mississippi State. Are you looking around? Are you paying attention? Are you feeling like this is real college football, or does it feel a little void to you? What's going on? What's in your head right now? What's this looking like?
It definitely feels a little different. I'm not fully into it yet. I'm trying to. I'm doing my best. Something's just not clicking, and I can't put my finger on it right now. Is it the fans? Is it what is going on? The SEC's only been here. We're moving into week 3 of the SEC, and we still don't have the Big Ten. We still don't have the Pac-12. the Big 12 just keeps losing game. Like Oklahoma State's the only undefeated team, and they don't feel like they're real. They're not going to be a playoff team. Oklahoma's just lost out there. They don't know what they're doing. Spencer Rattler's turning the ball over. Doesn't look to be clutch. Doesn't look to be the next great Oklahoma quarterback that wins the Heisman and goes as a top pick in the NFL. He's not a Jalen Hurts, a Baker Mayfield, or a Kyler Murray. So they may be looking for a quarterback here moving forward. But I am excited about the SEC, and I'm trying to get into it as best I can. I thought maybe Mississippi State would be something new, something exciting, and then they go out and lose to Arkansas. I thought I was on here talking about maybe they can challenge Alabama. Maybe they could be the second best team in the SEC West, and then there that goes. In 1 week, they lose to Arkansas, and they look lost. We got to give credit to Barry Odom and that defense there in Arkansas. He had a game plan, played a lot of zone, some cover 2, some cover 3 mixed up, zone blitz, and it really threw Mike Leach in that offense off. KJ Costello looked lost, was throwing interceptions, just didn't look confident in where he was going with the football. And yeah, I'm just kind of puzzled. LSU didn't look overwhelmingly great against Vanderbilt. Alabama looks to be heads and shoulders above everybody else. Florida, they've got a tough game this week against A&M. I'm kind of questioning if they're for real, if they can really. I mean, they beat South Carolina. It was only by 14 points. Can they really go to A&M and dominate down there as well? If they do, then it will be Alabama and Florida right there. And Georgia had an impressive win versus Auburn. So maybe they're back in conversation after just a kind of a slow start against Arkansas. And then they blew them out, and then they blow out to Auburn. So those look to be your 3 teams to me.
Not a lot of positives to take so far from the Missouri Tigers, the team we cover here locally. But silver lining, it looks like they may have a quarterback, Connor Bazelak. And, you saw Sean Robinson struggle in the first couple drives of that Tennessee game. Connor Bazelak comes in, he throws for, 218 yards, no touchdowns and a pick, a key one at that. But he looks more poised. He looks ready to run this offense. I think Eli Drinkwitz has his guy, if nothing else, for Missouri, which isn't going to win a lot of games this year. If you come out of this with a quarterback that could be the face of your rebuild, that's kind of a victory. In the meanwhile, you got to pick up some wins. You're going to have to knock off some South Carolinas, Vanderbilt, and Arkansas in here. You're going to have to do something on the field. But if you come away with this, obviously you weren't supposed to play Alabama. You weren't supposed to play LSU. Those are probably going to be losses. Missouri's probably going to be 0-3 after Saturday. I mean, that there's just not much controversy in that. But can Missouri find its footing with this quarterback and start getting this rebuild going? Or do we just throw a lot of this out? COVID year, you're not holding coaches really feet to the fire, but at some point you got to see some improvement, don't you?
You got to see some improvement. You got to see them finishing drives. It is good that they found their quarterback and they can get him the reps that he needs, and really look at this as just kind of a development year for Mizzou and Eli Drinkwitz, and just trying a lot of new different things and schemes and offenses and plays and really players. I mean, whether it's on the defensive side, the offensive side, just trying a lot of things, playing with this season, knowing that this is a weird year and this is Eli Drinkwitz's first year in the program, and you've got a lot of new guys that you've brought in. I think it's just a development year, trying new things out and really getting ready for 2021. But like you said, you've got to see the development. You've got to see them making progress, and you've got to find a way to win some ball games here. You can't just, okay, it's nice to try some things and develop, but you've got to win some ball games. And it's not going to come easy. South Carolina's looking like they're not going to be a pushover. Neither is Arkansas. You can usually count on that, but they look like Barry Odom's down there calling a great game on the defensive side of the ball. He did it for a little while against Georgia. So that's a kind of a feat in itself. And he did it against Mike Leach and KJ Costello in that high-flying run and shoot to Mississippi State offense. So he slowed them down, got that win. So it's going to be tough for Mizzou to find some wins, but they have to do it.
Well, hopefully you like what we're doing, guys. Go to our website, gasnsports.com, where you can check out all of our interview archives, our podcasts, and our articles. They're all up right there at our website, gasnsports.com. Always helps when you press that subscribe button on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, or Spotify. Guys, any way you choose to take in your podcast, it really does a lot for us when you subscribe and that you get these podcasts when they come out. It really helps us a lot in what we're doing and helps us, continue to get more guests and continue what we're doing. So that's huge. Guys, it's football season. Things could be worse. We're going to get through this. We got to enjoy these games. We got to really appreciate the fact that we have this going on right now. The Big Ten's going to join us next week. We're going to start feeling a little more normal. I think that that life for us is not always going to be in this times of darkness. We're going to get out of this. So pull up a chair, grab yourself some sweet tea, put a little vodka in it, and enjoy your weekend. Degenerate gamblers, I'd maybe call this weekend off. There's nothing that I really like here this week. Noah, we've already had our conversation. We're not laying any money because COVID year, this is just too crazy. We're not going to do it. But next week we'll be back on the Elite Sports Podcast with more great guests, more great action. Your money stays and plays with us right here on the Elite.